Hello, welcome to this video. In this video, we want to look at forms in HTML. Forms are used for collecting user data or user information. When the user want to log in on the web page, you use form for the user to log in, or if a user want to sign up, say new user, you use form where they will put in their email address, their password, and so on. So to create forms in VS Code, or to create form in HTML, if you open your VS Code like this, to use the form tag to create form, you just open the opening tag and type form right before it comes here. So this form element. Inside this element, now you create many feet or many labels in this form. So the first thing, after you open the form tag like this, but before I go into this, I will have to open the usual HTML file. So if I type here HTML and click on HTML5, it opens a HTML5 for me like this. Let me change this, give it the title, uh, how to create form, how to create form in HTML. That should be the title of our web page here in HTML. So after we define the title like that, then we come to the body section. So inside the body here now, we start creating the form. So we open the form tag like this, open the form tag, close it. So inside the form element here, starting with the closing tag and starting with the opening tag and the closing tag, we now define our form with different feet that will be available. So let's start. To create a form, the first thing is like inside this form tag here, you define the action that should be taken on the form. When you create that form, where is it going to be sent? Because when user put in their login, put in their password, their username, where is it going to be sent? It could be on the JavaScript file that will be responsible for taking that to the server, or a PHP. You can use PHP. So that is the work of the back end. So now, suppose that you created such a file and you name it as submit dot. If you use, let's say you use JavaScript, so you call it submit.js. So that is the sorry, I have to state the action first. I say action is equals to submit.js or submit.php. If you use PHP, any of them that we use. So we say submit.php, and then what method are you going to send that form? There are basically two methods of sending form, either through the post method or the get method. The post method is the most secure way of doing it than the get method. I will explain this while we are creating these forms later. When we want to submit, I will explain what I mean by post method is more secure. So we are going to use post. We have to state method. Method is equals to post. You can use get. So when we state that, we now create a label that we will give it to the feed that we want to establish. So here now we say label for what? So let's say for name. You want to create a form where somebody will sign in. So the first label here should be for name, and here we now specify the name. This is what we will be seeing when they want to put their input name. So we say for name, and then we specify name there. Then we close that label feed, and then we now state the input what because when the user see name, they are going to put their name in that label. So you have to state the input. So say input, and you have to specify the type of the input. By default is giving us text, which with this particular one is okay because as name, what you are going to input will be text. So go with text, but there are occasions that it will not be, the input type should not be text. So here we are going with text, and then we state the ID, the ID of the input. So here now we can say ID equals to name, the same name that we give here. So that should be the ID. And then we can also specify the name. This name is not just the same name that was defined here. Always in each input, you specify the name of the input you are sending, because it's this name and the ID that will be sent to the server when it's being sent. So we say name is equals to the same name that we define. If it is a password, so now we say name equals to password, but here is name first of all. So we still say name equals to name, and then we can add what is called a placeholder. A placeholder is what we specify, we tell the user what to do there. So you can say that placeholder equals to, then you type something, your name, enter your name. So with that now, when the form is created and user comes to that field name, they will see what something written there telling them to put their name. And you can make this a requirement so that the field must be filled. So you can say required. So let me run this so that we see, though we are going to do more to it, but let's see, run it in the live server to see how this one that we have done so far will be reflected. So if you click on go to live, we can see that this is a form here. We have the name, and here now it's telling you to enter your name. If you click now, you can type your name, whatever name that you may want to enter. So let's continue. So after we have created the input for name, so the next one we can create now should be password. Now create another label for password. And before that, we have to break it. We have to add break. We have to add a break so that the password and the name will not be, or email. Let's create email first. The email and the name will not be on the same line. So we use BR, which we already talked about in the previous class. So we use BR now to separate the line of name from that of the email. So when we say here now, so let's just copy this one and paste it, and then just make changes. Copy this, Control C, Control V now. So here now, the label is for not for name again, but now is for email, and then we change this to email. This is what they will see. And then the input type now is no longer text but also email. The input type is email, and the ID name should also be email. Name equals to email, and the placeholder will say enter your email. Enter your email. And this also should be a required field where user must enter their email. Then we can we give a break there. Let's create another one and call this one now password. So for password, and the name here is password. Password, and the input type is password. Because when we specify that it's password now, when you begin to enter your password, it will be hidden. So the ID should also, let's put it as password. And then the name is also password. Then placeholder, you can say something like enter, or say create a password. Create a password that is not that is at least that is at least 6 characters. At least 6 characters. So, and it should be also be a required field. And what again? We need to do that. Let's run it and see. So what we have done so far before we continue bringing other other stuff. So if you save this and go to the browser, we can see enter your name, enter your email, create a password that is at least 6 characters. Maybe if the wording there are too long, let's reduce the wording. You can just say password at least six characters, so that we will not have too much wordings here. Password of at least 6 characters, and then we save it. We come to the browser here, even as this, though we are going to use CSS to format this later on. So for now, let's just leave it like this. when we use CSS, we can make this box look larger. We can specify the length of the box so that all the characters here will be visible. So that is so the next thing we can do now is after creating the password, we can create another field like gender or sex. Here now, we are not going to use input type now. It's no longer going to be text but radio. So let's here now we'll say form for, or even we are going to let's do it that way. Form for sex. Call this sex, and then we'll label it sex or gender if we want to. Sex, and the input type here is radio button. So we specify that here is radio, and the ID is, so here now under sex now you have male and female. So the ID name here now we can put it, we can put the ID name as male, and then the name should be sex. So it's not that the ID and the name must always be the same. So we put ID here now um, as male. Then the second one will be for female, and then the name is sex, which we define over here. And then we'll remove a placeholder. We don't need placeholder here now. We remove the placeholder. We put, and we'll remove the placeholder. We'll put a label that will indicate the sex that you are going to choose. So here now we say we create a label for male. We create a label and we state that the label is for male, and then we specify here that is male. Let me show you in the browser first before I will come and do for female, because if let me save this, Control S. So if we come to the browser here now, you can see under sex now we have male. So if you are a man or a male now, you click this. So let's go and add for female, so that this is what we call radio button, this round this thing that will allow you to tick. Instead of entering value, you just tick the one that applies to you. So if we come back here now, we do the same thing for female. Let's copy this and change the aspect of male to female. So here now say this is female, and the name is remain sex, and this is for female. For female, I'll put female here. Female. Is that correct? Yes. So if we save it now, onto the browser, you'll be able to see male and female now. So if you are a man, you choose male. If you are a female, you choose female. And so that is that. So the next thing you can add in the form, you can ask them to indicate maybe address or so on. Well, did I include password? Have I put password already? Yes. So password now, let me go back and explain about password. So here now, if we put the password now, as we type your password, you can see it will be hidden because you stated the value there as password. So the browser now hide your password for security. You can click on this to make it visible. And so, but those ones that are like email, that is email. When you can just type the name, your email will come forth. Your name will also show. So, but for your password, it will be hidden for security. So that is for email. So the next thing we can do is now, like now, suppose that this form now, this user now is registering for a course, registering for a course for your training. So here now, after putting their name, their email, their password, their gender, maybe you can add phone number, but we'll come to that later on. So here now, you may give a drop down where they will select a particular course that they want to register. So to create a drop down, you use the select this thing. You use a select tag to create the element. So here now we define a label. We define a label, and the label is for course. We call it course. The label is for course, and then the name that it will appear is list of courses. List of courses. So after that, we now specify the select. We use a select attribute to now give you room to select a particular course. So you say select. So in the select now, we have to state the ID, and the ID here is interest. Sorry, the ID here is course. The course that we state there, so we'll say course. And the name is also the same as course, so you also specify the name. ID equals to course, and the name is course. So inside this now, inside the select field, we now give the options. So option one now, we open the option tag like this. So in the first option, we will state the option value. So here the value is, let's say the first course I want to look at is Python programming. So the value here is Python programming. Let's join it together. Python programming, or simply Python. And then here we say Python programming. Python programming. That is option 1. Then the second option, maybe we have it as data science. We have our second option here. Here value now. Let's change this to data science. And then we state it here. Data science. Let's add another option again. Here now, maybe we'll say it's cyber security. Let's just call it cyber. And then here we'll go write it in full. Cyber security. Maybe let's add another one again. We'll call this one web development. Web. Let's just call it web. I'm coming here now, we type it as web development. Web development. So if we save these changes and we'll go to our form now, we'll be able to see this list that we can select. So if we do Control Cell and go to the browser, so you can see list of courses. So the first one here is Python programming. If you take the draw down, you see data science, cyber security, web development. So that is how you create a drop down for you to select from options that you have. So we can also add a checkbox. To add a checkbox, something like when you want somebody to agree with the term of your service. So here now you add another label. You add a label. Sorry, I have to go outside the select. This select now has to close here. So I have to enter and start another label. So here the label now we want to give a checkbox. So the checkbox, instead of starting with label, we start with the input first before we add the label, because the box should appear where they will checks, and they will check it, and then we see the write up to the label. So here now we say input. Input type here should be checkbox, not text. Should be checkbox, and the ID is, we can give the ID as accept. You have to accept the terms of the condition, and the name also should be accept. And then you can make it a required field. So you say required. So that one must check that box before we submit the form. And then after doing that, you can now give a label. You now put a label, and that label is for accept. The label is for accept, and inside here you type I accept the terms and conditions. I accept the terms and conditions. So if we save this now, if you come to the browser here now, you can see this here. If this is a checkbox, before you submit, you have to click on it. Please check this box if you want to proceed. You click on it and then you submit. However, I didn't put the break, so it's staying on the same line with this. So I have to come and add the break here, BR, so that it will not be on the same line. So if I add another BR and then we add the submit button, and now add the submit button, because when after you check that box, then you have there should be a button where you click to submit your data. So you button is created with button, so you also open the button with the opening tag like this. So the button, the type is submit. You can have different button. This one now we use it to submit. So say the type is submit. You want to use it to submit, and the name here now it will appear as submit. So if we save and come here now, you can see here now so let's fill this form. You enter the name, you say Tedo Raymond. Tedo Raymond, and the name is Basi at 23, Basi at 21, or Basi 21 at oba.com, and then you put password. Let's say oba as a password, and then you check email, then list of courses, and you select cyber security, and then check the box here. I accept the terms, and then you click submit. So meanwhile, we have not created any page submit.php, so this cannot correctly work. But all we need to do is that is what you need to create such a form. And then when we start doing CSS, we now use CSS to style the form accordingly. So now, as you can see here now, this is a URL of this web page. So as we submit now, it's just showing us showing us the action, which is at submit.php. But if we use, that is when you use post. So why I was saying that post is more secure, if we use get, the method of submitting, this method at the first starting here, if we use get, and if we save this, come back to the browser here, remove this PHP to form, that is the name of the HTML. So if we save this, we have the form back. So if I enter the names that I put, enter password, check HTML, select the program, let's say data science, accept the conditions, and then submit. So now we have submitted. You say you cannot get it because it's not created as I explained before. But the insecure aspect of using the gate is that you can see here now. Uh, After the submit.php, the name that we enter is shown. See them, Tedo, Raymond, email, Basia, everything, even including the password. So when you use get, it will not be encrypted properly. So the post method is better, it's more secure. That is why it's preferred to use when you are sending a secure information on your web page. So that is how to create form and to create button. So the next thing I want us to look at now that we are done creating form, there are some other things I want us to look at. We'll look at the styling of this when we start CSS. In the next class next week, we'll be starting CSS. So we'll look at that later on. So for now, the important thing is to know the how to structure a form in CSS. Sorry, in HTML. So here, slash form. Let's go back to it. So this is our form now. We can structure this to look beautiful with different colors, position it in the center and so on. But for now, what you should know is this is how you can create a form. So by the time we do CSS, we now make it beautiful. And then when we do JavaScript, you can see how effective it will be when you click submit. So forms are used to collect user input and send it to the server. We use buttons to submit such forms, and then we use CSS to design them. So now, another thing I want us to look at now is how to add symbols in HTML. How to add symbols in HTML. So here now, maybe let me just continue on this page to explain about forms. So here I enter, I'll start. We are outside the form now. What we are doing is no longer a form. We are looking at how to add symbols. There are some special symbols like mathematical symbols, like currency, and so on. So how do you add them in your web page? So there are particular way of doing it. We have what is called using HTML entities. The entities begin with the ampersand sign. The ampersand. The ampersand is this. This is the ampersand. So we use it to create special symbols in HTML. The first one is the we can use the equals less than to add the less than symbol. You use the ampersand like this. You add the ampersand and put LT, that is less than. If you do that and then you put this, you can see it is already suggesting for us here. If you click on this, it will work. So if we run this now, you will be able to see the less than sign in this web page. So control, if you save and come to this, you can see the less than sign here. So let me. There are many of them. They are not things that we must know offhand. We can always search for them on the internet when we need them, but it's good to know some basic one like the greater than. You add it using the same method. You put the ampersand and put GT, that is greater than, and you always end it with semicolon. We put semicolon, then it will accept. So if we save this, you will see the greater than sign there. I am adding break so that it will not stay on the same page. What is it? BR instead. I'm putting B. B is for bold. There are two ways of making a bold statement. Either you use B or you use a strong, which I explain about strong. But B, you can, let me just put it like this. Now, if you want to make something strong, bold, you put the B like this. So whatever you write inside here will be strong. So let me put a symbol here now and make the symbol to look bold using this one now. So you can add the copyright, like when you see copyright in your at the foot or your page or in a book like that. So to add a copyright symbol, you put the ampersand. You put the ampersand. Where is it? Here, and then put copy. Put copy. So that will give you the copyright symbol. If you come here now and let's see it, you can see this is a copy, the C that is standing for copyright. This is greater than, this is less than, that we added. So there are many symbols, other symbols like the registered trademark, that R. Let's also add that one briefly. So the trademark, you also put the ampersand sign and then add REG, that is register. So it will now give you the trademark, the registered trademark. So when you are creating website and you need those things to be included, maybe in the footer or so on, so you should be able to play along with them. We have other symbol like euro. You put the ampersand and write euro in full. So that is the method of adding. You can add many euro, dollar, pound, yen. You put them like that. Then, if you don't want to use the HTML entities, you use what is called Unicode. You use the Unicode. The Unicode has particular code. So to add those stuff using Unicode, like for example, the heart sign. We have those heart sign that is used to, sometimes they used to denote something maybe related to love, or those is being used for playing game, those card game. So to add that one, any of those ones are listed above. They are also, you can use Unicode. I'm just giving an example of the card, the heart. It's not that it's only heart that you can use Unicode. So we put the ampersand sign. Again, you put the hash key, the hash, and then the code for the heart is 9829. 9829. So if, let's see whether it's correct. You can see the sign of heart here. We can do for many other ones like the infinity. Infinity, the mathematical symbol for infinity. You put the Unicode, sorry, the ampersand, put the hash key, and then type the code. The code for infinity is 8734. 8734. I didn't put this here, doing get me. So let's see. So this is the infinity symbol. The input break, so it's staying on the same line with this. So that is how you can add. You can also add emojis. Emojis like the same heart sign is also an emoji. You can also, when you show a thumb up, to add a thumb up, um, you use the ampersand, the hash key, and then the code is 128077. 128077. You can see is a thumb up. So you want to add this emoji. So all of them, you can check them online because there are as many as not things that you must cram in the head. All those code of a thing. So that is how you add. Um, so the next, or better still, let me end the video here. In the next video, we are going to look at tables, how to create tables. And when we done tables, then we will start doing CSS so that all those pages that we are creating in HTML, we begin to give them a visual appeal. We begin to style them to look good, to look better to the eyes. So, so thank you for watching.